Hey guys, what's up? It is time to rank every single Pokemon in Pokemon Unite on this tier list. Now this is coming from a master rank player, so you guys know I'll give you a good perspective into the rank scene, the meta, and kind of rank them appropriately to how I feel they place in the meta right now. I've seen the meta shift in so many ways. I was able to get into master rank in the first like 2 to 3 weeks of the game being out, and the meta has taken so many shapes and forms over the past few months. And I thought it was the perfect time to drop a new tier list because we just got the beast Mamoswine. Oh my god, is Mamoswine so damn thick, and I love every minute of it. So we're gonna start the tier list with Venusaur. Now, if you guys have been playing Unite for the past couple weeks, you guys know that Venusaur is a monster. I mean, talk about zero to hero, because when the game first came out, Venusaur wasn't that good. Definitely in the same boat as Charizard, not that well used, and felt like lacking in so many areas. But after just constant buffing in several patches, Venusaur has just blossomed. I mean blossomed into an absolute animal. I mean, Petal Dance is just so damn savage. You see this thing running at you, you are gonna die. And the crazy thing is now too, people are playing like jungle Venusaur. They'll take Venusaur in the jungle, get all the XP, and then they'll be level 15 in no time, racking up kills and all the XP points, just biting you with Petal Dance. Petal Dance is such a monstrous move. Of course, they've been buffing Venusaur a lot with every patch. I wouldn't be surprised if they nerf Venusaur now, just because it's taking over the meta entirely. Venusaur is going to the tippy top of S tier. I mean, I really just don't see any flaws with it, and they're just constantly buffing Venusaur more and more. Alright, stop. That's enough buffs. Give some love to other Pokemon now. Like, you know, I do love to taking Pokemon that need the help and boosting them up. But Venusaur's gotten enough love now, like to the point where Venusaur is like one of the best in the game at this point. And I think there's a few other Pokemon that could use that boost. Alright, take it easy on Venusaur. That's enough. Okay. If you guys have been playing the game at all, you guys know what I'm talking about. Petal Dance is a nightmare move. It's nightmare fuel, dude. It's crazy strong. I have nothing else to say about that. Venusaur S tier. Now, on to the next one. We're going to talk about Pikachu. I think Pikachu is the best example of an all-around Pokemon who is just good in every attribute. Not overtly broken in any of the things, but just does everything very well. That's why I'll put Pikachu in A tier. I mean, you can't go wrong with picking Pikachu. It's a solid pick and help the team with range, with pinning Pokemon down for quick kills, snipes, solid ultimate, good movement, just all-around great Pokemon. You really can't go wrong with this pick. I think solid A tier, definitely above average by far, but just good in every category. Not overly OP where you think, okay, this is not fair and I can't play the game, but good enough to definitely cause some damage. Now we have Talonflame, and Talonflame is in a very interesting situation because I don't think people see the full potential of Talonflame. And let me elaborate, because I think Talonflame has a secret little sneaky factor that nobody's talking about, and I'm calling that the steal factor. And the steal factor is the ability to steal objectives at any point in time. And I think that's pretty valuable because objectives is the lifeblood of the game, right? If you're not getting Dreadnoughts, if you're not getting Rotoms, or you're not getting the Zapdos, you're more than likely gonna lose the game. Obviously, there's certain scenarios where people still come out on top, but I would say 90% chance if you're missing Dreadnoughts, if you're missing the Zapdos, you are gonna lose. Of course, obviously Dreadnought and Zapdos are more important than the Rotom, but if you are missing all these objectives, it's gonna pile on and the pressure is gonna be on your team, and you're more likely gonna lose the game. And Talonflame is a sneaky little devil, because Talonflame can come in almost at any point quickly, accurately, and do massive damage on any objective at any point to kind of just steal it. Can swoop in, can jump over, hurdles and block it, just fly over it and just clap an objective. Especially when the health bar is like this or lower, they can just come in and swoop it and steal it, and that can turn the tides in any game. Especially getting Zapdos, you guys know how important that yellow bird is. You guys know how important Big Bird is. So I think people sleep on that factor of how crucial that could be for a team. It just can get kind of messy because you would want to have Talonflame take the jungle role on your team to get that XP, but there's other Pokemon that benefit off the jungle way more. So I think the best bet would be to just take the L and send Talonflame to a lane, and just to have that slow burn to get to the point where you know that Talonflame can swoop in and steal objectives whenever it's needed. Because there are other Pokemon that you would rather have the jungle be taken by that can do so much more monstrous things. But I don't want to just shy away from the fact that Talonflame can definitely steal objectives like no other, and I value that pretty highly. Obviously, right now the meta is pretty pushing jungling Venusaur, getting to level 15, cranking with Petal Dance, and it's working. It's freaking insane. But I don't want to count Talonflame out. So I'm going to put Talonflame in A tier, but just because it's very niche of a situation and not an all-around, solid pick definitely below Pikachu. But don't get me wrong, if you pick Talonflame, I definitely will be proud of you and I'll commend you because you can steal objectives, and I think that's pretty important in a game like this where they put too much emphasis on the objectives and it can like turn the tide of any game. I really do appreciate when Talonflame comes in and swoops in and steals Zapdos or steals Dreadnoughts, especially for Pokemon like Mamoswine who need the leveling. Now let's talk about Blastoise. Oh my god, let's talk about Blastoise, the mob boss of the Squirtle squad. Blastoise came into the game a few weeks back and has changed the game ever since. I mean, Blastoise is a Pokemon that came in OP. I mean, didn't need any buffs, any changes, just came in an absolute turtle monster. I mean, no complaints. Water Sprout, Rapid Spin is just cranking it, and the ulti. Blastoise's ulti is probably one of the best in the games as far as raw damage, AoE, and just like staggering. It does it all. It's just too insane. And on top of that, Blastoise is a tank, so he can do crazy damage but also survive a lot of hits. So Blastoise is just good in every single way, excels even. I'm very surprised we didn't get any nerfs really to Blastoise in the last patch, but of course Blastoise is still new, so you want to have a chance for Blastoise to ferment and kind of still be able to be played in the meta before they kind of let other Pokemon get that shine. But yeah, Blastoise is an instant S tier. Now, if you would put Venusaur or Blastoise over one another, I think right now Venusaur is just controlling the game right now. So I would kind of say Venusaur takes the crown, but it's not like a big margin. They play two very different roles, so you can very well have a team with Venusaur and Blastoise on it. And in Master Rank meta, you see like all the high-end teams are gonna have Venusaur and Blastoise. You'd be a fool not to take advantage of this on your team right now. It's just free dubs. You get a dub, you get a dub, you get a dub. It's free wins for everybody. Now the moment we've all been waiting for, and probably the reason you guys have even clicked, is for Mamoswine. Mamoswine, I want to flesh this out because yesterday I spent the entire day on Twitch streaming and playing Mamoswine and just testing out every move, every combination, a lot of item builds and just item sets and just figuring out Mamoswine. You know, who are you? Tell me who you are, Mamoswine. Vibe with me. And I got a very good idea of how you play this Pokemon and what makes this Pokemon shine. The thing is, so like Mamoswine is taking up that tank role that is very vital to the team, don't get me wrong, but then you want to ask yourself, is Mamoswine more valuable than other Pokemon? Because that's what's going to come down to. Like the more the roster increases, you know, because this game's going to add Pokemon left and right, you know, in a year's time you might have like 100 Pokemon roster to choose from. So you got to think to yourself, is this Pokemon more valuable to me to pick over another? And on top of that, you also got to ask yourself that Mamoswine is a Pokemon that is like Garchomp, is like Gardevoir. Doesn't evolve to its final form to Big Daddy Mamoswine until level 10. So it's going to be an end game Pokemon. And that in itself is a risk. Because if your team is missing Dreadnoughts, if your team isn't pushing properly, you're missing out on these levels. And that can cause you to be very much behind everyone else still, you know, in Swine Up stage or Pillow-Swine stage. But the crazy thing is, Swino can actually hold its own. The funny thing is, it doesn't have the same hiccups that Garchomp has, to where, you know, when you're kind of a Gibble and a Gabite, you're damn near useless until you're a Garchomp. But Swinub, in the early parts of the game, does a lot of raw damage. In the testing we did in 1v1 matchups, or even getting 1v2'd, you will do a lot of damage compared to your opponents, and then also you're taking a lot of hits because your HP bar is just so packed. Especially combined with the item sets you use on Mamoswine, you will survive a monstrous amount of damage. So Mamoswine, being an endgame Pokemon, you would want to be able to have at least some usefulness until you turn into your big final form. But Mamoswine can definitely hold its own in Swine-Up and Pillow-Swine stages, which definitely makes it a lot more viable pick over someone like Garchomp or Gardevoir. Yes, they do different roles, but you have to still have to compare them because they are all level 10 Pokemon. So you have to kind of compare their progress until they get to level 10 and see what makes them tick, or see if they're worth it. And I'm glad to say Mamoswine is worth it. But at the end of the day, they are both tanks, Mamoswine and Blastoise. And if I were to choose one or the other, if I'm going to play right now, it would have to be Blastoise because Blastoise is just so overtly broken. But now let's get down to the nitty gritty of Mamoswine. The moveset is stellar. You're just a savage tank. I mean, I can't really explain it other than that. You're just a monstrous, big tank, okay? You can take hits on hits on hits and not budge a muscle, and you're putting out damage on your opponent as well. Now, like Mamoswine's damage isn't like cranked like Blastoise or cranked like Venusaur, but you're doing consistent, solid damage on your opponent while you're not taking that much damage back because your health bar is just so massive. So that's the trade-off that you love because you're just cranking enemies. And surprisingly, Mamoswine actually has some solid, good movement options with high horsepower. So you're cranking enemies, moving around pretty quickly, and doing some monstrous damage on your opponents while you're not taking that much back. So it's very rewarding. And another cool thing is Mamoswine is also a pretty good counter to Venusaur. So that makes you want to think to yourself, okay, I would play Mamoswine because Mamoswine can beat Venusaurs in 1v1s. So you'll have the pedal dance going crazy, but you're the one that can stop that nonsense. Get that shit out my face. So Mamoswine is a really good Pokemon out the gate, but I cannot say S tier. I will say A tier though, instant A tier. And right now I'll put Mamoswine at the top of A tier. Coming in very strong, solid in every trait, all around, great move pool. You have Ice Fang and you have Ice Cold Crash. But the thing about that is, if I were you, I would stay away from Ice Fang. Yes, it is very satisfying and it's a cool move to use. It's kind of very similar to Machamp, where you grab them and kind of can slam them where you wanna. Ice Fang will grab someone and then you can kind of figure out if you want to throw in front of you, behind you. That can lead to you ganking your with your team to destroy that person's life and their career, or you can kind of maybe push them away from you so you can kind of jet out of there. Either way, you have kind of control. You want to throw them with Ice Fang, but the problem is the radius of Ice Fang's effect is very minuscule. If they're not right in your face, it's gonna whiff. They gotta be super close to you for you to be able to grab them with it. I was hoping they would have gave like Mamoswine a little bit of a charge, maybe a little bit of a stampede towards you. Then he grabs you Ice Fang and kind of does what he wants. But Mamoswine just kind of does it in front of itself and it whiffs a lot. Ice Cold Crash is a lot more consistent. You can do it at a range and it gives you just a little bit more options and more consistency that Ice Fang doesn't give you. So me personally, I would go with high horsepower and Ice Cold Crash. But test it out. Like I said, it's all about preference. You just gotta be careful that you gotta be really close, and it's more targeted. While Ice Cold Crash can hit a bigger circle of enemies. But Mamoswine definitely gonna be an A tier. Great Pokemon, great DLC being added right now. Amazing, 10 out of 10. Now let's talk about Gengar. Talk about fallen heroes. I mean, if you would have asked me, you know, when the game first came out, where Gengar would be, I wouldn't even hesitate to tell you S tier. But as the game evolved, so does the players. And I think the gimmick of Gengar kind of wears thin after a while. If you kind of know what Gengar is all about, it is very easy to counter. Don't get me wrong, doesn't mean Gengar can't surprise you and do some very crazy burst damage on you and your team to make something happen. But at the end of the day, it's very readable almost to a point, especially if you're a seasoned ranked player, a veteran and higher, you're going to know what's going on. Shit, even great ranked players ain't falling for that Gengar nonsense anymore. And on top of that, Gengar needs the jungle. Like if you're gonna play Gengar and you take Gengar to lanes, Ghastly is dog water. Ghastly is horrible. So you're trying to use Ghastly anywhere else besides the jungle, you're gonna get wrecked. And you're gonna be used for farming. They're gonna be farming you for XP. So like you need that crucial role of the jungle, and there's just too many better Pokemon that need the jungle more than Gengar. You would not want to waste that spot on a Gengar. Obviously, like I said, don't get me wrong, Gengar can do some crazy good burst damage and catch people off guard. If they're all huddled up together, you get that nice hex combo off. It could be a beautiful sight. It's just, the more seasoned the players get, the more they're able to kind of fall away from that shenanigans that Gengar can do. And then like, the funny thing is, that's mainly the only thing Gengar can do is the kind of surprise, hex combos or maybe some Dream Eater, Shadow Ball stuff, but kind of just catch you off guard and burst damage you. But Gengar is way too frail and way too readable to make it happen anymore. I don't want to say Gengar is horrible, but Gengar, I'm going to just put him in the mid, in B, just very mid right now. You can make it happen to catch a few players off guard, but I think the jungle area is just way too vital to give away to Gengar anymore, because everyone else is doing bigger things, better things. You're not picking Gengar over Venusaur right now. The meta is just too crazy. So let's move on. Mr. Mime. I want to say Mr. Mime is in a similar boat to Gengar. Like, Mr. Mime has way more utility than Gengar does, but Mr. Mime is just very situational, very good early game with the trapping with the walls and pulling off plays like that. But the problem is, a lot of you Mr. Mime players probably can, will be aware of this and will know what I'm talking about. When you put your walls up, a lot of Pokemon's abilities can kind of grow right through your walls. Similar to Snorlax, when Snorlax puts his block up, a lot of abilities, like for example, such as Rollout or High Horsepower, a lot of these abilities kind of go right through your walls. I don't know if it's a glitch or if it's a bug or it's supposed to happen that way. I don't think it should, because you're putting a fucking wall up, but most of these abilities can go right through your walls, and it's just like, it defeats the purpose. So, like, I think the value of like a Pokemon like Mr. Mime kind of goes down the longer the game goes on. Obviously, I think early parts of the game, Mr. Mime is definitely puts in a lot of work, and it's very useful for the lanes, getting early kills, trapping, etc., etc. But I think the later the game goes on, the less viable like Mr. Mime would be over other picks. So I'm just gonna put Mr. Mime in mid as well. Over Gengar, definitely like not a bad pick. I wouldn't like be mad to see Mr. Mime on my team. It's just I think like when the game goes on longer and longer, Mr. Mime like tends to lose value. And you'll see that with a lot of Pokemon on this list. how like, you know, like there's different parts of the match. You know, like when you're in those first early stages, like, you know, everybody's in their pre-evolutions from like 1 to 4. Certain Pokemon thrive in that environment, while others, the longer the game goes, other ones, you know, get better with age, like a fine wine, and and you would just want to switch it up. So, oh my God. Up next is Garchomp, guys. Jesus Christ. Instead of D tier, this would be just a fucking trash can. I am sorry, guys. Okay, let me just take a second to tell you, when the game first came out, you know, I took an L. Garchomp was the first one I brought. I love Garchomp, one of my favorite Pokemon. And Garchomp got me through Great Rank. That was like one of the first Pokemon I started using and maining and putting my time into. And I love me some Garchomp, but as you get older, or higher in the ranks, you know, you just realize how bad this Pokemon is. Like, especially when you compare it to something like Mamoswine, how they're both kind of the same kind of, like, you know, flavor. They're both endgame Pokemon that need to get to level 10 to get to their final situation. Garchomp falls flat in every single fucking way, besides his ulti. And, like, you know, the ulti is good. It does crazy damage. But on top of that, like, you know, you're rarely ever going to hit all 4 of the hits on Garchomp's ulti. Unless, like, they're all lined up in a row for you like fucking ducks. But yeah, Garchomp is so bad in every single way. When you're a Gible and a Gabite, you are damn near useless. If your team misses Dreadnoughts, you're going to be a Gabite for the rest of your fucking life. And on top of that, the damage payoff is only really paying off in your ulti. It's just not there. You're out of the fight for way too long because Garchomp is only good as a Garchomp. Like, you know, when you're Gible and Gabite, the other Pokemon are breezing on you. There's so many better picks. And by the time you're a Garchomp, the weight just was not worth it. It's just not worth it. I know they added new items that can maybe benefit Garchomp players, and they've been buffing Garchomp a lot, and it's just still not enough, and it's just so disappointing. I would hope one day they give Garchomp the buffs and attention that they give something like Venusaur, but they're just not. And I think Garchomp right now is just taking big L's. Do not play Garchomp, especially if you're playing ranked. You're going to be holding your team back, and there's just too many better options if you're trying to make it to Master Rank. Garchomp is just not worth it. Walking L. D tier. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. When I say I'm sorry, you know what I mean? I'm trying to let you guys know, man. Garchomp is not it, bro. It's horrible. And it's funny because Garchomp is always so broken in, like, the main series games, dude. Like, you know, Cynthia still haunts my dreams. But yeah, in Pokemon Unite, dude, yeah, Garchomp is not uniting. We don't want him. Throw him away. Okay, so now let's talk to the previous king of the tanks, Snorlax. And when I say previous king of the tanks, you know, Blastoise is taking over, man. Blastoise is like a fucking mob boss. Blastoise is taking over, but I always put it like this. I think Blastoise and Snorlax, even though they are both tanks, I think they play different roles on your team. So you can have a team, in my opinion, that could have Snorlax and Blastoise. Because I think Blastoise is a lot more of crowd control, you know, a lot of CC more than anything. You know, Snorlax is kind of that tank, you know, just take the beating, block everybody off, and you know, and while everybody does their thing and get some scores in the process, you know, which is very good for objectives like Zapdos, Dreadnought, and so on and so forth, or just, like, you know, giving your teammates some time to get back and go heal, which is very crucial. While Blastoise is all about crowd control, you know, hitting multiple enemies in a big radius, especially with the ulti, and doing consistent damage while being able to take a good amount of hits. So I think they played two very different roles, even though being both tanks. So I find a hard time comparing them, because I can very well see a good Master Rank team that has Snorlax and Blastoise on it at the same time. So I'm gonna put Snorlax. I'm putting Snorlax in A tier. I think Snorlax is still viable, still one of the better tanks in the game right now, and can be played alongside beasts like Blastoise. Obviously, it has its problems, very similar to how I mentioned to earlier with Mr. Mime. Some abilities can kind of go right through the block, and kind of defeating the purpose of the whole thing. I guess I don't know if that's a bug on their part, because, like, for example, if you try it out, guys. If you know what I'm talking about, if you don't know what I'm talking about, like play like Wiggly and roll out towards, like, block Snorlax, and you go right past. You just go right past them, dude. You go right through him. And like I said, I don't know if it's a mistake. I wouldn't think you should be able to do that, but you can. So, like, you know, so I'm gonna put Snorlax in A tier, like, it's still solid pick, and I can definitely see you playing that along with that. So don't get me wrong, Snorlax is still in the game, and they hit Snorlax pretty hard. Like, they tried to stop my man. They tried to stop Snorlax, and they couldn't. You know what I mean? They put a lot of nerfs on Snorlax, trying to just usurp him from the tank meta. And Snorlax is still, I think, the best tank in the game besides Blastoise. And like I said, I don't even call Blastoise a tank in my mind. He's like, you know, he's CC for me, just raw crowd control. That's what his role is for me. So now we're gonna go to Gardevoir. Gardevoir is like the epitome of glass cannon. Just the epitome, identifies as the word of glass cannon. has the same tropes as Garchomp and Mamoswine, where you need to get to level 10 to, you know, see Gardevoir in her full potential. But the problem is, you know, it takes a while, and that's a late game Pokemon. But on the bright side, Gardevoir can do a lot more than Garchomp can, and even when you get to that final stage, that final form, you are way more useful than Garchomp is. The ulti is immaculate, super big radius, you know, crowd control. Yo, you know me, you know I love my crowd control. I want to hit 3, 4 y'all motherfuckers at the same damn time. So, you know I love my crowd control. Gardevoir is like, you know, but short glass cannon. I mean, if you get on that ass, she's toast. But by all means, definitely can do what she does from a good distance. Can hold her own, nice ulti, and even like as Kirlia can put in some work. Like it's not like, you know, Gibble or Galbite situation where you're kind of damn near useless. You can still hold your own and play the game. So I'm gonna put Gardevoir around here. I think I'm gonna put Gardevoir at the top of B. I don't want to say Gardevoir is rocking out in A, but I'm gonna put Gardevoir at the top of B here. Definitely a good solid pick, but definitely can use a little bit of work just to make her even more cracked. And I know what you're saying. She already does so much damage already, but like it's a big trade-off because she's just so fucking frail. So you need that extra damage, man. But I think she's a little bit more just because it's an endgame Pokemon and you take so long to get into gear. While there's so many Pokemon in the game right now that can be turning up by level 5. You know, they're fucking having a party by level 5 when Gardevoir ain't showing up to level 10. So let's move on. Now we have Absol. There's no inherent problem with Absol. The only problem is that Absol like is another jungling Pokemon where there's just too many better options. And you know, Absol is a beast in the booth, super fast, super raw damage, does what Absol needs to do. Like, you know, this is a solid all-around Pokemon. It's just there's too many other better options right now to want to play Absol over others. Like, you know, especially in the prime jungle real estate. You know, you need like someone like Venusaur in there right now because the meta is just so catered to that pedal dance shit. But don't get me wrong, like Absol is a solid Pokemon all around, good speed, good damage, no complaints. Just right now, it's just there's too the jungle scene is too crowded right now. There's too many good Pokemon to choose from, and I think Absol just kind of just falls behind. So Absol will also be in A, but towards the back of it, you know what I mean? Just towards the back. You know, no complaints there. I have no problem with Absol. Like does everything Absol needs to do. There's just too many good options. Alright, so next we have Lucario. We ignore that extreme speed nonsense that was going on a few days ago. Okay, I mean, Lucario's busted, but Lucario's not that busted. But yeah, Lucario's broken. Like, you know, good damage, good speed, amazing early game. And Lucario's one of those Pokemon that can be viable, like, you know, throughout the entire game. Lucario does crazy damage compared to other Pokemon in the early stages, you know, because you start off as a fucking Lucario. I don't know why you couldn't start as a Rilo, but you start as a Lucario because you want to be a beast in the booth off rip. You do insane damage compared to everyone else, and your speed is cranked. And Lucario can run lane and not really have a problem with it. You know, some of those Pokemon that do good earlier need the jungle, but Lucario can actually hold its own in the lanes. So Lucario is a solid all-around pick. The only problem that stops Lucario from being an S tier is his ulti. His ulti is so disappointing. Probably, arguably, one of the worst ultis in the game. It's so bad. One, it rarely ever hits. You know, take a shot every time you hit your Lucario ulti. You're not even getting buzzed, bro. You're not even getting buzzed, bro. Now, it takes too long to charge up. You know, your enemies see that shit coming a mile away, and even if it does hit, it doesn't even do that much damage. Like, even if it does hit, the damage is not even that significant. Like, please. I mean, but don't get me wrong. Like, everything else is immaculate. So, like, but if Lucario's ulti was also immaculate, Lucario would be an easy S tier, absolute beast. But for now, definitely in the top of A tier. It's just the ulti holding Lucario back. It's just so, like, lackluster, dude. The charge time is way too long. It's just like, you're sitting there for like a half an hour, like a Dragon Ball Z episode, holding that thing down. Kame! Your enemies just like step to the side and just like weave that shit, dodge the crap out of it. Like, you know, you don't got time for that. I don't got time for that, bro. But A tier, guys. Now Crustle. Crustle is an interesting pick because people always give Crustle crap around me. Like, you know, when I'm streaming Unite or like talking to the Unite community, people always badmouth Crustle. I don't agree. I've seen some speed-based Crustles builds that put in some major work and that have definitely dominated. I wouldn't say you would use Crustle over others, other tank options, like even now Mamoswine, you know, Snorlax and Blastoise. I wouldn't use Crustle over them, but an aggressive Crustle build can actually put in some work. Like the bulkiness combined with how fast Crustle can move and the solid damage Crustle puts out, it's pretty scary when it's all over you. And it can be hard to kill, like, you know, very hard to track down and hard to get your hands on and kill. I've seen Crystal players go the whole match without dying. Obviously, in the double form, you might get smoked a little bit, but in the late game, Crystal is moving, dude. So I definitely think a solid pick, man. I'm gonna say A, but like in the bottom of A, you know, behind Snorlax, but definitely creeping up. I think if Snorlax gets another hit, or like, you know, in like the in the patches, like another big nerf, Crystal's taking that spot, man. Crystal's definitely usurping that. Crystal's been like, you know, low key, man. It's low key, dude. Watch out. Watch out. Now we got Greninja, absolute freak, S tier. Let's move on to Charizard. Greninja's good, man. What do you want me to say, dude? All around monster. Ulti's good. Movement is good. Good early game. Range. Good ass range. S tier. I don't want to go too deep into Greninja. There's nothing much there to talk about. It's just a good ass Pokemon. What do you expect? What do you want from me? What do you want from me? Now let's talk about Charizard, dude. You know, Charizard's lucky that Garchomp's here. He'd be the fucking worst Pokemon in the game. So, but yeah, Garchomp is a close second to the worst Pokemon in the game. And don't get me wrong, guys. Charizard's ulti is very good. Gives you really good crowd control, some survivability, but that's the only thing Charizard has going for it. You know, when you're a Charmeleon or Charmander, you're not doing that much. A lot of times you'll be free food for the enemy team. They'll be eating you, bro, getting the XP off you. And by the time you're a Charizard, it's mainly only the ulti, and it only happens like 3 times or 2 times a match where you've been popping your ulti off. So Charizard, it needs a lot of work. They've been trying. They've been giving Charizard a lot of buffs in the game, just trying to make him work. But it's not going as well for Charizard as it was for Venusaur. And it's not happening. Obviously, it's not Garchomp bad. Maybe I'll throw Charizard here, but it's just you see Charizard's second worst. You know, so no matter if I put him here or put him there, it doesn't change anything. Charizard needs major improvements. I mean, I'm not on the team, so I don't know how they're gonna make it happen, but make it happen. Charizard is definitely lackluster. Now we have Zorora. Zorora, I think, is in a very similar boat to Gengar, but better, because I think Zorora obviously has more options than Gengar does. And it's not as squishy as Gengar is. Obviously, Zorora is still squishy, but not as squishy as Gengar is. And the problem is, like, good players know how to play around this. Like, the thing that Zorora does best is discharge, right? We all know what I'm talking about. Like, Zorora, the only thing is really discharge. Like, you know, the rest of the moveset isn't that like noteworthy or even good. It's just discharge. Like, you know, that AoE, like, you know, crowd control AoE and just like raw damage and a bulk of people is what you're gonna go for, and it's kind of one note. That's all you really there to do. Obviously, it's really good though for objectives and stuff like that, and then Zorora can hold its own better than Gengar can. But if you know what you're doing, you can very easily play around this. Like, a eject button is like a pure counter to Zorora. Like, you see Zorora fly at you, pop discharge. As soon as you see the circle pop up with discharge, you just eject button out of it, and you're good. Like, it will run out and you just beat the crap out of him. You just beat the crap out of him. So like, it's very easy to play around if you know what you're doing. Obviously, if you know everybody's in a group, which happens a lot in this game, you'll catch some bunch of kills. I just don't think it's worth to play Zorora at the moment over some other ones you would play in the jungle. Like I said, it's just a crowded area. But I do think Zorora is still better than Absol right now, and definitely better than Gengar. So I'll put Zorora like around here in A, but definitely like around here. It's just the jungle scene is way too complex right now. And in the higher ranks, like Master Rank, Zorora is very easy to play around, and you rarely even see it. Now let's talk about Cinderrace. Cinderrace is an absolute monster, S tier. Cinderrace, the range is crazy. Like I think Cinderrace has the most range out of all the range Pokemon. Like Cinderrace can hit you as being a range Pokemon before you can even target it. Like, you know, like in, say, like for example, the Venusaur Cinderrace matchup. Cinderrace can like crack you from further distances that you can even touch Cinderrace at. And it goes like that for like most range Pokemon. Like, Cinderrace can just hit you for so much damage. Like, it's from afar, and it's like so much damage. It's like you hit him like with a sniper rifle. Like, it's crazy, just raw damage, raw power. And this guy has iframes. He has freaking iframes that he can trigger at any point. Like, he just like dances on you, like, you know, he's doing the salsa. Like, you know, you can, and really good Cinderrace players are terrifying. It's like playing against Ultra Instinct Goku. Like, you know, if they know how to time it right to like, you know, iframe past your ultis, iframe past your special attacks, iframe past your looks. You look at them, they iframe at you. Like, really good Cinderrace players are terrifying. You won't even hit them. It feel like you're fighting against, like, you know, like Goku. It's nuts. You know, if you see what I'm talking about, I know in the lower ranks, you won't see it as much because it is very hard to do, like, to know when to time your iframes, when to pull them off, how to move them. It's complicated stuff. Don't get me wrong, but it's just a monster Pokemon. Can iframe it at will to dodge or like go through, phase through every attack you can do at it, and it's just a monster Pokemon. Range out the ass, damage out the ass, ulti is immaculate, can dodge your attacks. Come on, S tier, instant S tier. Come on, stop it. Edge Gloss is, I don't know, it's just kind of mid. I don't even know how much to say about this. Just I don't know, the support role that it gives, it does enough, and if you're on the team, it will help you out. You know what I mean? It'll do something. But Edge Gloss can't really do much on its own. It benefits off of playing off other players, similar to Blissey. We'll talk about Blissey later, but like it's very similar to that. But if you're on the team, you're not gonna really complain about it. You know, it's gonna help you and like, you know, make the better Pokemon better and keep them alive more, which is solid. You know, just not really overly broken in any way. Just kind of there to help out. You know, if you kind of rush down Whimsicott, if you rush down Edge Gloss, it can kind of save itself too. So hey, you know what? We're at the bottom of A. Like, it's solid. You can't really complain about it. It's a solid Pokemon. I'll put it in the bottom of A. I mean, it is not much to say there. It just makes, like, you know, good Pokemon better in the situations. You just gotta be careful how you play this Pokemon, because in the early parts of the game, you know, this Pokemon is pretty bad in the early parts of the match, and you'll get like raw dogged. Like, you know, they'll be like eating you for XP. So you gotta watch out for that. Besides that, you know, it's just there to help. It's not much, but it's honest work. Alright, now we got Cramorant. Cramorant is insanely good in the early parts of the game. Probably one of the best Pokemon in the early parts of the game. I'll put Cramorant in A tier, like around here. Insanely good in the early parts of the game. The damage is insane. Like that's the key. The raw damage. And the damage stays consistent throughout the entirety of the game. And especially when you get to that ulti. Like that's what it's all made for. Like this Cramorant throws Pikachus at you. What a savage. But yeah, the damage is absolutely insane. Cramorant is an absolute beast. Definitely, I'd say solid A tier. You want to be mad at Team Cramorant on your team and pull off some crazy snipes, just crazy DPS, dude. Not good enough to be S tier, because I think if you can dodge certain attacks, you can kind of just run up on Cramorant and just give him the beats real quick, just kind of clap his cheeks. So not like crazy S tier, not really a lot of movement options there, but definitely solid Pokemon that can dish out a monster amount of damage, especially in the early parts of the game, which is where you want the big damage the most, because you want that level of disparity. If you get those early kills, that sets the tone for the match. You know, you kind of like leveling up faster than your opponent is. You'll be 6, they'll be 4, and like, you know, those are the things you want in the match to go down. Obviously, stuff like Zapdos and all that other shenanigans is super important, but the early level disparity, you know, like in the pro matches, you know, it rarely comes down to like stealing Zapdoses. Like sometimes it does, but it comes down to outplaying your opponents and having like bigger levels than them, getting those gains. And Cramorant will definitely help you do that. Definitely A tier. Now let's talk about Ninetales. Also A tier. Just not played as much anymore. I just think there's too much more going on right now. like Ninetales is kind of taking a little backseat in the meta. Like Ninetales is a super annoying Pokemon. Really freaking good. I think solid A tier. Just not really played right now in the meta right now. I just think there's too much going on. There's too many good Pokemon happening, but definitely solid A tier. I think the height of A tier, amazing Pokemon, insane range, can just blast you in the ass from mad far away, freeze you, and evolve super early in the game, which is super crucial, and just go crazy. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna say Ninetales is a solid A and high A. You know what I mean? High A and like low S is pretty similar. So don't get me wrong, like being here is not a bad thing. Like, you know, like Lucario, Knighttails, Mamoswine being like at the top of A. Even Pikachu, like I think this top 4 spots here, being at the top of A is a good thing. Now we got Wigglytuff. They tried to stop Wiggly. You can't stop Wiggly. They nerfed like the, you know, the D-Gleam, you know, Sing variant of Wiggly, but they don't even know about the rollout build. The rollout is insane. You know, if you know, you know. I don't want to put it out there too much, but rollout, you know, is a monstrous move. Rollout into double slap. Wiggly can 1v3. 1v2, block lanes like Snorlax, and support at the same time. Wiggly is a monster, an absolute monster, and still does what Wiggly does best: slapping everybody, bro. Slapping everybody, slapping the Rayquaza, slapping Zapdos, slapping your grandma. Everybody A tier, like, and up here too, like right around by like after Pikachu, I think. Yeah, right after Pikachu would be where Wiggly is. Just so good, dude. And rollout not only, like, you know, can like help you 1v2, 1v3, but also pull you out of fights. Okay, any move that can pull you out of a fight completely and get you back to the base to heal, to recover, to flank is amazing. That movement is key. Movement is key. Okay, amazing A tier. Now here's the tragic story of Slowbro. Slowbro used to be in there, man, but the tank scene is getting a lot of new Pokemon in it, and Slowbro is kind of just falling by the wayside, you know, and of course what happened was they kind of hit Slowbro a little bit too. They hit Slowbro Surf, which also affected things. But the thing is too, Slowbro is a very niche Pokemon because Slowbro is kind of anti-meta, you know. I say anti-meta because anti-meta is kind of like counteractive to the meta. And like Slowbro like can target one Pokemon, like, you know, and counter the Pokemon, hold them in place, kind of just disrupt them, but not really like, you know, do things on a big scale or to multiple Pokemon. And that's what the meta is shaping into. Pokemon that can hit multiple targets all at once, that crowd control. You know, that juicy word I love so much, crowd control. And Slowbro suffers from that because it's very targeted. You know, I think back when Gengar was the meta, Slowbro was that counter to Gengar and can easily fuck him up. But now that the meta is shaping kind of differently, and it's kind of moving away from, like, you know, single target attacks to kind of just all out CC warfare, Slowbro is just falling like less and less by the wayside. So I'm gonna say Slowbro is around here. You know, it's like here. Yeah, it's just right now it's just not worth playing. There's too many better options. Slowbro is too targeted, too niche. You know, and the tank scene is just looking way too prominent with better picks. Obviously, like, you know, I'm not saying, like, don't get me wrong, being here, I'm not even saying Slowbro's anywhere near here, you know. Like, there's miles and miles and a stretch of highway between this and this. I guarantee it. But it's just, it's not enough there right now. I think, you know, right now, just take a seat and the meta will shift back later and they'll give Slowbro another buff and he'll be back in the game. We'll be back in the game right now. We need you on the bench right now. Just sit on the bench right now, just for a little bit. Sit on the fucking bench. Alright, now we got Machamp. Okay, Machamp is not a Pokemon. This is a grown-ass man. This is an adult dude. Fucking Machamp pays taxes. He has a social security. Okay, this is a grown-ass man, dude. Okay, Brolic as hell. Fucking jacked. Okay, A tier. Now, where I'd put Machamp A tier, that's when it gets tricky. Obviously, like, these top 5 spots, you know, all the way to Wigglytuff, it gets kind of close. Like, it's all, like, you know, interchangeable, and they all kind of are really excelling in the game right now. So I'll put them around here, like, but don't get me wrong, like, Wiggly and on, like, you know, you're making it. These Pokemon are banging right now. The meta is for them. They're having the most fun. They're raw dogging. They're going crazy. This is like the Pokemon you'll see in most of your matches in the meta right now, especially in Master Rank, like here and up. So, like, Machamp is just a beast though. Can grab you, pull you to the homies, jump you real quick, take your shoes, take your wallet, go great. Just a powerhouse, man. I mean, and it can be hard to kill really fast. Can escape fights, put the beats on you. Beats by Machamp. Like, it's a sight to behold. Like, don't get me wrong. Instant A tier. Now Blissey, like, they tried to buff Blissey again. I just think Blissey is super, like, lackluster to me. I don't know if I'm the only one that feels that way. It's just, you know, Blissey is good at that one thing, kind of just supporting others, and can't really take care of herself. Like, she loves everybody else, but can't love herself. I think we've all been there, guys. We've, you know, RIP. We've all been there. Like, you know, you love everybody else, but you can't love yourself, man. And on top of that, like, the buffs that Blissey gives can be helpful, but I just think picking a different Pokemon that could do more would benefit your team even more. So Blissey can be a little mid to me. I'm gonna put Blissey in B. Solid pick, can definitely you know, give advantages when they're needed. Like I said for Edge Gloss, makes good Pokemon better. But I just think the options to have different Pokemon on your team would be better. Obviously, I'm putting Blissey above like Mr. Mime and Gengar, probably around here next to Gardevoir. It's just super, you know, it's a super letdown. Now, this tier list build, it has a Sylveon and Clefable here. I never heard of any rumors of Clefable coming out. Maybe there's rumors of that happening, but these are Pokemon that aren't out yet, that are future DLC, so we don't really know where they're gonna stand just yet. I'm super excited for Sylveon though, to see what Sylveon does to the meta. Sylveon's definitely gonna be shaking things up even more so. Mamoswine is a great sight to see in the game. Definitely gonna shake up the meta, be used a lot in Master Rank. Super viable, and I think in counter Venusaur, it's amazing right now. Unite I think is at peak right now. It's so exciting to play. Everything's being shaken up, and I love it. I can't wait to see like season 2 of the ranked season happen. Everybody go back on that hunt to get back to Master Rank. I love that rush. But this is my tier list. Obviously, tier lists are very subjective, so make sure you let me know in the comment section below. Where would you play some of these Pokemon? Was I dead on? You know, do you have some disagreements? Talk to me about it. Let's have a conversation. How are you enjoying Pokemon Unite? What rank are you at? Are you still in Ultra? Are you trying to fight through Veteran right now? What's going on? Speak to me. Who do you main? Who's your favorite Pokemon in Pokemon Unite? I'm a cornucopia. I use a bunch of different Pokemon. I use Venusaur. I use Mamoswine. I use Wiggly. I use you know, who else? I dabble in Gengar sometimes. You know, I use a bunch of the roster. You know, I think in this game it's best to have your hands in every pickle jar. I use Blastoise too. You know, you want to have your hands in a little bit of everything so you can fit the role your team needs. Especially if you're trying to play Master Rank, you want to be adaptive. You want to be able to fit the roles that your team might need, because you're not gonna be good at your favorite Pokemon every time. and you don't want to be that stubborn guy to be like, oh, he took my Charizard, I'm not fucking playing. You know, pick somebody else, adapt. You know, that's where you want to be savvy with as much of the roster as you can possibly be in, especially if you're going to be aiming for higher ranks. But that's going to be it for this video. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys super smash that sub button, join the squad, join the family, and drop a like too. It helps the channel. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. Don't chase me, PokeSteve. Don't chase me. I'm so low and vulnerable. I'm so submissive and breedable. Don't chase me. Stupid. You dumb motherfucker.